Hello, everyone. So picking up where we left off last class, I want to go over how we would first start to graph this quadratic. Graph this quadratic from standard form, and then how we would identify the solutions, okay? So first off, if we're looking at this, we should start by naming our A, B, and C. I'm going to do that out here. Pen's dying a little. My A would be 3, B would be -12, and my C would be 14. I'm going to zoom in a little for you here. Okay. So now I need to do my x equals -b over 2a in order to solve for my vertex, my x value of my vertex. Plugging in, it would look like -12 over 2 times a, which is 3. Now, my b is a negative, and they wanted me to plug into a negative b scenario. So that's going to make it a positive 12 over 2 times 3 is 6, which gives me 2. So my x value of the vertex is 2. I still have to find the y value. In order to find the y value, I go back to this original equation, and I plug in this new x value for x. So I'm plugging in this 2 for x. 2 squared is 4. 12 times 2 is 24. 3 times 4 is 12. So right now I'm going to draw it over here. I have 12 minus 24 plus 14. 12 minus 24, that's going to give me a -12 plus 14. -12 plus 14, that gives me a positive 2. So my vertex is 2, 2. I got an x of 2 and a y of 2. So in the middle of my table of values, I'm going to put 2 and 2. I'm going to go up here, so 3, 4. Down from here, 1, 0. Okay. Now I'm going to start to draw my coordinate grid here. And I'm going to plot 2, 2. That's my vertex. Something else you're usually able to plot here is the y-intercept, and the y-intercept here is 14. It's whatever that c value is. So I know 0, 14 is another point, which remember this should mirror, so that means this is also 14. However, those are way off my grid. I can't really graph those. So let's see if I plug in a 1, if I can get anything. So I'm going to go to my original equation. And I'm just going to do it down here at the bottom of the paper. I'm going to take the original equation, 3x squared minus 12x plus 14. And I'm going to plug in a 1 to see what I get for my y value. 1 squared gives me 1. -12. This gives me 3 minus 12 plus 14. 3 minus 12 would give me -9 plus 14 would give me a positive 5. So when I plug in a 1 for x, I get a y for 5. So that gives me the point 1, 5. That's a point that I can put on my graph. So next to the 1, I should be putting a 5. Remember, this is a mirror image, so that should also be a 5. So 1, 5 on my graph is there. And also 3, 5 is here. So now I can draw this. Now the last thing I need to do in this problem, the actual answer to the problem, is to name the solutions. The solutions, remember, are where the graph crosses the x-axis, like over here it crossed at 4 and over here it crossed at 4 and 6. Is this crossing any x-axis? No, it's not. It doesn't touch it. So there are no solutions. Okay. Let's do one more quickly. The classwork today won't ask you to do this, but I did want to give you a refresher on it. This one, A is -1, B is 4, C is -4. Okay, so negative B would be -4 over 2 times A would be 2 times -1. So I end up with x equals 2 again, because I have a negative over a negative. So then if I plug in a 2 to this equation, plug in a 2 here, I get -4 plus 8 minus 4. That's going to give me 0. So my vertex is 2, 0. So I'm putting that in the middle of my table of values. Okay. I'm going to go down and up. Okay. My y-intercept here is -4. So next to x is 0, I can put a -4. That should be mirroring with this point. So I don't even actually have to do any math out to find another point. I can just graph it. So I can first plot the point 0, -4, and then my vertex 2, 0. And I can also plot 4, -4. Now you'll notice that this one faces down. You should have known right away that this graph would face down because there is a negative sign in the front. Okay. Now all you have left to do is name what are the solutions. So where does it cross the x-axis? This is your main answer. It only crosses it once at x equals 2. It never crosses it a second time. So remember that these can either cross once, twice, or no times for a quadratic. This is what your quiz is going to look a little more like today. So I do want to go over this. First of all, these 4 questions are all for these 3 graphs. The reason why I'm asking these 4 questions is because they all mean the same thing. What are the zeros? What are the roots? What are the solutions? What are the x-intercepts? They all mean the same thing because zeros, roots, solutions, x-intercepts, these all mean the same thing. They're all just where does your graph cross the x-axis? So if I were to name where this crosses the x-axis, this is at -3. This is at +5. So it crosses at x equals -3, x equals 5. These are the 2 places it crosses. Here it crosses once. It crosses at just x equals 3. 1, 2, 3 slashes. Here, it never touches my x-axis. So there are no solutions, no zeros, no roots, no solutions, no x-intercepts. Okay? So this is more what your quizzes is going to look like, just naming where does it cross that x-axis. Okay, there will be a quiz soon on this, so please make sure that you're asking questions if you're getting stuck. Okay, have a great day.